The first thing I want to say is that I fully understand that, gangbanging is normal for politics, clicking up, forming posses and whatnot. Now, Bernie done dropped out of the race and Biden is now the Democratic nominee. And I want to play a few clips of Bernie supporters who call themselves progressives. Now, these clips are to describe how they've been talking even before this corona thing. I want you to hear how they sound.
Democracy Now! I'm Amy Goodman. We're broadcasting from the epicenter of the pandemic in the United States, from New York City, with a guest who argues the country will be unrecognizable after this pandemic if big corporations walk away with trillions of dollars and no strings attached. Joining us via video stream is Matt Stoller.
And I look forward to all of the progressives who are supporting this, like Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, supporting a wealth tax later on for all the wealth that they are right now transferring to Wall Street. That'll be fun.
CNBC's Jim Cramer said last Friday the economic downturn from the pandemic could leave the United States with just 3 retailers after the crisis ends. This is what he said.
We come out of this sooner than other small businesses can open. If we come out of this later, David, there's going to be 3 retailers in this country. There's going to be Amazon, there's going to be Walmart, and there's going to be Costco. And that is something that the government cannot afford to have happen.
So, Matt Stoller, if you can respond to what Cramer said, while President Trump stands at the White House podium saying we're spending much more time concerned about small business than big business. He didn't say we're spending much more money concerned about small business than big business.
I don't think that this is actually, I don't want to leave this on Trump. Honestly, this is the fault of the Democrats. This is the fault of Nancy Pelosi. It's the fault of members like Ilhan Omar, who just spoke about this, not paying attention to what's in the bill. It's the fault of Bernie Sanders. It's the fault of Elizabeth Warren. These are the people that had leverage, that had the ability to make an argument about what this bill is. And instead of saying that this bill is a handout to corporate America and a roll-up of power, they decided to stay quiet, let Chuck Schumer organize the whole process, and do some moral grandstanding. And it's really embarrassing, and it's really a problem because they're lying to the progressive movement. They're lying to the Democratic Party. But I think we really have to take some responsibility. As Democrats, I'm a Democrat, as progressives, as conservatives, as Republicans, this is a total system failure. This is a handover of power to Wall Street. And in a month or 2 or 3, people are going to get confused. They're going to say, wait a second, why isn't this working? What's happening? And this is the moment. The moment was this week when the House and Senate are voting on it. And you have a whole bunch of largely clueless, either stupid, corrupt, or cowardly members who won't actually look at what's in the bill, won't organize, won't think about it, won't debate. And so they've handed over, I didn't think that Bernie Sanders was going to hand the country over to big business, but that is effectively what he did. I didn't think Elizabeth Warren was going to do that, but that is effectively what she did.
You're attributing a lot of power to them.
Absolutely. The leverage point here was about the public debate. Last week, when Mitch McConnell was coming up with a bill, and I wrote about this, but others wrote about it. Not including the
Democrats in this.
Well, yeah, but the Democrats didn't make an argument about what was in that bill. They said, oh, OK, trillions of dollars for Wall Street. Sure, we'll call that pandemic relief. Instead of saying that's trillions of dollars for Wall Street, what we need is immediate pandemic relief. If the Democrats had gotten together and blocked this bill, then, Mitch McConnell and Mnuchin and Kevin McCarthy and Trump would have had no choice but to accept any deal.
Let me play presidential candidate Bernie Sanders speaking Wednesday night about the unprecedented, more than $2 trillion emergency relief bill.
That's how they sound. They don't sound like Democrats at all. And they've been talking like that. Those Democrats, these Democrats, the problem with the Democratic establishment is that's how progressives sound. Like outsiders. Like invaders. You heard Matt Stoller attack Bernie for even siding with Democrats. That's an example of why I said it's not really Bernie. It's his supporters. His public relations people that are on some extreme gangbanging that made Bernie look real ugly out here. And you heard Matt lying, saying that the Democrats didn't contest the bill, even though Democrats are the ones that stopped it from going through to renegotiate the bill that would have been even less than what the people got if they hadn't stopped it the first time. Now, I'll only play 2 clips, but there's a lot more than those 2 clips I'll play. More clips that I could play from the Young Turks and others, but I'll just play 2.
I don't know if I can stress enough to you how absurd both of these political parties are. In this moment, I'm sorry, I honestly would like to 100% move away from electoral politics in the middle of this crisis, because the only thing that really matters is the fact that we have to survive. But instead of focusing on a solution, liberals and Democrats are sitting around navel-gazing over the fact that Bernie Sanders did not show up to vote against the bill, when not voting for the bill is analogous, it's equal, it's equivalent, it's the same goddamn thing as voting against it. But the media, oh my God, the media and the Democratic establishment, people who just generally hate progressives, right? They are more fixated on stopping the progressive takeover of the Democratic Party than they are stopping the culling of the herd that is being presented by Donald Trump.
Not only are they not Democrats, they're non-believers in the Democratic Party, which would be fine if they were running for president as an independent instead of running on the Democratic Party's ticket / coattails. Usurpers. You heard Benjamin Dixon say, takeover. But they complained about the DNC stopping Bernie from winning. A person who's not even of their party. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'll play 3 clips, but there are a lot more I could play from a lot more people.
And, you know, I say all this to say, like, I mean, obviously we recognize the game, right? We see what's happening. We see how it's played out. We see the strategery around it. And I must say that I am extremely proud of the Democrats. No, hear me out. Don't cut off the podcast yet. I'm proud to see that they actually do have a backbone and a spine.
See? That kind of talk right there. Said, don't cut off the podcast after very sarcastically saying he's proud of Democrats. Don't cut off the podcast was said because of his audience of progressives that have great disdain for the Democratic Party. Again, if it's true the DNC set up Bernie to fail, you should understand why. Progressives are the Republican version of what Republicans call rhinos. Fake Republicans. Republican in name only. These progressives are DINOS, not real Democrats. Democrat in name only. Outsiders running on the ticket and coattails of the Democratic Party. Infiltrators. Body snatchers. And now that Bernie is out, these progressives are going to amplify their attacks on Biden and the Democratic Party. You know, essentially making themselves part of Trump's campaign for re-election. You know what? You know, let me use the someone else's house analogy to describe the progressives within the DNC, who want to walk up into someone else's house, walk straight to the refrigerator and grab something to drink, walk into the living room, take their shoes off and prop their bare feet up on the coffee table, then tells the owner of the crib, now clean up this mess. And you know what? I don't like blue bathroom rugs. I like purple. Change them to purple. And the shit paper is to go under, not over. Fix it. You even have the nerve to complain that other Democrats who dropped out of the presidential race endorsed Biden, who is a Democrat. You complain while you ignore the fact that Democrats are endorsing Democrats. They recognize their own. And I'm sure that these former candidates and other people who endorsed Biden can hear how much y'all don't like the Democratic Party. Now the most disturbing part. The progressives don't vote mindset. Since Bernie's not going to be president, they'll use their media influence to urge people not to participate, which will help Trump and the Republican Party. You want to help Trump win by not voting, and you've been attacking Democrats even before Bernie's run. And you didn't run as an independent, you ran under someone else's flag. And progressives wanted to come in on the Democrats' obstacle course and start rearranging the hurdles to fit themselves. And again, you want to rage quit with your I'm not going to vote at all if it's not a Bernie thing, which helps Trump. My response.
Well, what in the fuck are you waiting for, Private Pile? Get up and over! Move it, move it, move it! Are you quitting on me? Well, are you? No! your balls off so you cannot contaminate the rest of the world.